You're going to start with the blood. You go to the doctor, and the doctor takes some blood from your arm, and they're going to put your blood in a little tube like that. Right, that's a test tube. And your blood is in there. And what they're going to do is they're going to put this blood in a machine called a centrifuge. So the centrifuge is going to spin at high speeds, and that's going to force the red blood cells to drop to the bottom. So the red blood cells that you have in your blood will go right here at the bottom of the test tube when you centrifuge that. Now, the top part is going to be the liquid that we have in the blood. So since the red blood cells were in that particular fluid, and then after you put in the machine, these red blood cells went to the bottom, then for that reason, your blood is considered a suspension. Why is considered suspension? Because your red blood cells are suspended in this fluid. In your blood, the cells that you're going to have in there, they're going to be called form elements. These are the red blood cells right here. Another name for red blood cells are going to be erythrocytes, that you can see here, right? Red blood cells. In addition to red blood cells, you're also going to have platelets, and you're going to have also white blood cells, which are also called leukocytes. This fluid that we have on top of the tube, that one is going to be called plasma. Now, plasma, obviously, if that's a fluid, is because it contains water. The water is crystal clear, but you're going to have in there other materials, like, for example, proteins in there. Then, for example, these proteins are the ones that are going to be responsible for having this liquid in our blood yellowish instead of being crystal clear. What is plasma then, right? Then it's going to be the water plus proteins. And there's a whole bunch of other things in there as well. You have in there, for example, nutrients. You're going to have gases. You're going to have vitamins, hormones, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of things that you have right here in the plasma. The most important ones are going to be water. 92% of that plasma is water. 7% of that plasma is proteins. And then the rest accounts more or less for 1%. Okay, so then that's what our blood is. So then let's keep moving then. Right here, if we get this blood and we put it in the microscope, well, this is what we actually see. As I said, most of the cells that you have in your blood are going to be red blood cells. That's why most of them are going to be red. Which is this one. These ones are the red blood cells right there. You have some platelets in here right there. Okay, so you have mainly red blood cells, platelets, right, and just a few white blood cells here and there. Okay, but this is what you see. So this is going to be called a blood smear. Okay, so then we keep scrolling down right here. What's the job of the red blood cells? The job of the red blood cells is to transport gases, for example, oxygen. The job of the white blood cells is to fight infections. The job of the platelets is to help us stop bleeding. So we have multiple different types of white blood cells. So we are going to have two groups. They can be either granulocytes or they can be agranulocytes. A means without. So that means that the white blood cells that are going to be agranulocytes don't have granules. So which ones are the granulocytes? Neutrophils, eosinophils, and basophils. And which ones are the agranulocytes? So then obviously those are going to be the lymphocytes and the monocytes. If we scroll down right here, we can see the white blood cells here, right? But you can see in there the granules. There's granules in here again. The other ones are going to be the agranulocytes. For example, you can take a look at this one right there, right? It shows no granules in there. Okay, so then let's keep moving. Now we're going to talk about blood groups. Where do you get the blood type? Well, your blood type, you got it from your dad and from your mom. So we're going to have two things that you need to understand. You have antigens and antibodies. So if you have blood type A, then you can have antibodies B. So what determines that you have blood type A? The presence of antigens A in your red blood cell. So if you have blood type B, it's because that's what you receive from your dad and from your mom, and that antigen B is being displayed in your red blood cell, and because of that, you have blood type B. What antibodies can you have? A. What happens in this case when you have AB? Then your dad and your mom gave you the antigens A and the antigens B, and that's being displayed in your red blood cell. And that's why you have no antibodies, because if you have either one, A or B, they can match to your blood. If you have O, that means that you have no antigens whatsoever. You don't have A, that's why you're called O. You don't have B, that's why you're called O, right? What does that stand for? Zero or no, right? Means that you have no antigens in there. So for example, this is antigens A. So you have that antigen in your red blood cell, and that's what determines your blood type. So if you have antigen A, this is what's given to you by your dad and your mom, then we consider that your blood type, therefore, is going to be A. If you have antigens B, right now you have antigens B right here. So then what blood type you have? Blood type B. If you have antigens AB, they're being displayed in your red blood cell, therefore they're going to be called A and B. And again, if you have O, then obviously you have nothing, right? You see, as you can see, there is O because you have no antigens. This is one way we're going to group the red blood cells. So right here it says blood groups. Now, is this the only type of grouping that I can do with all my red blood cells? No. I can also group them, let's say, based on another one, which is going to be the RH. I can have my red blood cell right here, and I can say that this red blood cell is, for example, A, and let's say positive. So it's going to be A based on the ABO group, and it's going to be positive based on the RH group. In the RH group, you have only two options. Either you are positive or you are negative. You are considered positive if you have the antigen in your red blood cell, as you can see right here, right? The antigen is there. If you are negative, that means that your red blood cell is like this and there's nothing in there. That's why you're considered negative. If you have blood type A, what antibodies can you have? You can have B. If you have antigens B, then you have antibodies A. If you have antigens AB, then you have none whatsoever, because otherwise they will attack your blood. And if you have blood type O, that means that you don't have antigens A, you don't have antigens B, so that means that you can have antibodies A and B. Let's keep moving. So antibody and antigen reactions, that causes the destruction of the blood. So what do I mean that the red blood cells will get destroyed, right? So then what do I mean by that is when you do the testing, this is how it looks when I say that the blood gets destroyed. When you destroy the blood, that means that the blood type that the person has is going to be, for example, in this case, is going to be A positive, because you can see here, that's A, and this is positive. Right here, nothing happens, so that means that this is not B. So then what happens when somebody puts in their blood type B? The red blood cell will get destroyed. How do you see that? Well, you see that right here, right there. You see how it gets destroyed. Let's keep moving then. Okay, so then after that is blood donation. This depends on the type of blood that you have, right? We said we have to be careful because of the antibodies, right? So we said if you have blood type A, you have antigens A, so therefore you will have antibodies B, right? So if your blood type is A, don't give your blood to somebody that is blood type B, because if you give somebody that is blood type B, then your antibodies will match in here, and then obviously there's going to be a problem.